And it was like, for me, it was like, UFO or something, it could be bioluminescence or whatever.
अगर आप interviewer हो
हाँ.
and some student is coming to you,
Yeah.
like what will you see in that? Like how will you select?
Couple of officers or engineers who are constantly, they're sitting in your cabin, constantly complaining about work.
Yeah.
And all the seniors around them. अरे मर गए, ये बकवास है, आज ये प्रॉब्लम हो गई, अरे ये तो फेड अप हो गया, आई वांट टू लीव द शिप. दे आर गोइंग टू मेक योर लाइफ मिजरेबल. स्टे अवे फ्रॉम देम. मेरा दिमाग खराब हो जाता है अगर मैं इनडिसिप्लिन या बदतमीज बच्चे को देख लूँ.
सो गाइस, दिस इज शोभित एंड आज हम आए हैं कैप्टन रवि चौधरी सर के पास में, जो कि बहुत ही सीनियर, इवन मैं बोलूँगा, मैं अभी जितने भी सेलर से मिला हूँ सीनियर मोस्ट सेलर हैं और इंस्टाग्राम पे बहुत बच्चों को बहुत ही अच्छा गाइड करते हैं. लेकिन आज हम इस पॉडकास्ट में ऐसी चीज़ें पूछेंगे. इस पॉडकास्ट का नाम है नेवी टेल्स, तो नेवी से रिलेटेड जितने भी टेल्स हो सकते हैं वो सारे के सारे आज हम यहाँ पे डिस्कस करेंगे. तो सर, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल तो मैं आपको यहाँ पे इंट्रोड्यूस भी कर रहा हूँ और मैं चाहता हूँ कि आप थोड़ा सा इंट्रोडक्शन दें कि आपको कितना टाइम हो गया है और राइट नाउ आप अभी कर क्या रहे हैं.
ठीक है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल थैंक यू शोभित. आई डिडंट एक्सपेक्ट कि दिल्ली से सिर्फ ये काम करने आओगे. मैंने कहा शायद घूमने फिरने आए हो तो साथ में ले लोगे, बट आई एम रियली वेरी थैंकफुल. ओके, मेरे को आई जॉइन इन 1980 एंड इफ यू नो कैप्टन नॉबर्ट, ही इज ऑन इंस्टाग्राम, ही इज माय बैचमेट. एक जहाज पे हम कैडेट्स, मतलब वो साइन ऑफ कर रहे थे, तो आई वाज जॉइनिंग.
Okay.
And it was kind of our last ship, as a cadet. So we go back, in the 80s. So I joined in 80 and worked for 33, 34 years. And decided to quit in, 2013 and 2014. Or mostly, I always tell that, I started merchant navy when there was Columbus navigation, I mean, there was nothing, one, really bad radar, जिसके अंदर झांक के, और दाग करके देखे, और साइड में उसके हाथ डालने के लिए था वो चाइना ग्राफ पेंसिल. अगर OAW ट्रायंगल बनाना है, किसको जहाज को कैसे उसका कोलिजन अवॉइडेंस करनी, तो उसके अंदर हाथ डाल के पेंसिल से ड्रॉ करते थे,
It was very difficult.
So, those kind of things. And then satellite navigator came, along the time. We were cadets that time. Satellite navigator के बाद GPS आ गया, differential GPS, and then of course, वो radar से the better radars came, and then the colored radars, and then now you have all the
You have seen all the transition.
And उसकी एक advantage ये रही कि my generation was adaptable to the changes. When you talk about changes, lot of times we had seminars in the various companies.
Yes.
And especially the Westerners, the Goras, they would say that Indians are reluctant to change. Okay, whenever something new comes, or computers come on the ship, or some new regulations come, the first reaction the Indians will give, "Arey yaar, abhi ye naya cheez seekhni padegi," rather than really looking forward to it and going ahead and learning a new thing and going ahead with that. So my generation, I think, because it was survival. Okay, so you had no choice.
Yeah.
It was from that navigation to the transition period to modernization and super specialization. So I have seen it all, and obviously to survive, I had to learn everything. So it was wonderful experience. 34 years. I was basically, on oboes most of my life, from third mate.
I want to know, and I want to tell you on this screen, what is oboes?
Oboe, okay. Like a lot of times, oboe is something, very, kind of, it's gone out of, circulation. Oboe is OBO, oil, bulk, ore. They are combination carriers.
Yeah.
Same, the cargo compartment is not like a tanker. It's like a bulk carrier. But you have the ducts inside the pipelines, So you, in one voyage, you load grain cargo, coal, iron ore, whatever. Next cargo, suddenly you are loading oil in the same one.
Okay.
That is not difficult, because from dry to oil, you just wash it, clean it, and keep it ready. But after oil, you are discharged oil, let's say in Europe, and after 12 days, they say, or 18 days, you go to New Orleans, load grains. And now you have to, kind of wash them, prepare them, do all that, So they were very, very difficult ships, and there were few, pool of oboe officers and crew who were circulating,
So
those kind of.
right now, are they existing or not?
I see once in a while, some companies are, they are running oboes, but I would say if I take the numbers all over the world, there won't be more than 20 ships, or something like that. So,
अच्छा सर एक्चुअली व्हाट इज हैपनिंग कि आपने इतना सारा कुछ किया है फ्रॉम 2013 आई थिंक
yeah, I quit.
यू क्विट
Yeah.
अब अभी जो क्राउड है जो नया वाला क्राउड
हाँ,
बिकॉज अभी आप इंस्टाग्राम पे हो 2 दिन
हाँ,
साल से यू आर फेसिंग दिस काइंड ऑफ क्राउड
हाँ.
इसमें आपका क्या व्यू है लाइक आप क्राउड को भी जो आपके साथ में जैसे अभी हम एक्सपीरियंस डिस्कस कर रहे थे आई वांट टू शेयर वांट यू टू शेयर दैट एक्सपीरियंस कि लोग किस तरीके से आपको ट्रीट कर रहे हैं अभी
Actually, it's very. The first of all, the new crowd, the new generation I'm talking about, not the merchant navy generation. The new generation which we see is very smart, very sharp. They have very fixed goals in mind. I'm talking about the smarter ones. Okay, so they know what they want in life, and the only thing probably they lack is probably or discipline.
या
Okay. Now, when you come to any organization like shipping, or I'm not relating shipping with the defense force or anything. That's a separate thing. But in shipping, you do need a lot of punctuality and discipline and responsible behavior. Because I always tell juniors, they ask me, sir, is shipping a dangerous profession? So I tell them a ship is as safe as you want it to be, or as dangerous as it can be, depending on how you are living on board, what kind of work ethic, what kind of the discipline you follow on board. If you walk with your camera in your hand and you're making videos, I mean, I am not against all these things. I was in the beginning when I saw the new generation coming, making all these videos. I was like, I am not from that era. I wouldn't like a officer or a crew member while the work is going on, moving around with the cameras and making videos. I still see a lot of times pilot is on board. I've seen a couple of videos. Some person is taking a video of the navigation bridge while the pilot is on board and captain is looking at the camera and smiling. That's a big no-no.
ओके
I mean, that's a hindrance, I would say. That's you are kind of doing something which is it's a cardinal sin. So new generation, coming back to the point, is smart. They know what they want in life, and then there's another generation who want everything on a platter and quick fix.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's very funny. There are some funny memes also. Sir, मुझे फटाफट कैप्टन बनना है. तो आई टेल देम, भाई मेरे को तो 15-16 साल लगे हैं अभी. आई डोंट नो कि तुम्हें फटाफट कैसे. एंड देन सम पीपल दे मेक अ कमेंट, become a ship owner, you will become captain faster. So those kind of people should stay away from merchant navy. If I am sitting in one of the interview rooms and a child
that is my next question.
Yeah.
अगर आप इंटरव्यूअर हो
हाँ.
and some student is coming to you,
Yeah.
like what will you see in that? Like how will you select?
जो मैंने 8th क्लास में phrases सुने थे इंग्लिश की लेक्चर में, first impression is the last impression, this and that, and work is worship, and this, they had some meanings. Whoever invented those phrases, Goras or whoever, there was a very deep meaning behind that. Similarly, I go by this thing, first impression is the last impression. When a bacha enters the room and I'm going to be selecting or whatever, I'm the interviewer, my mind starts working from the moment he enters the room. His appearance, what he's wearing, his hairstyle, his shoes, okay, and his mannerism, his confidence, his etiquettes, his expressions on his face. All those things I have already given him 4 or 5 points out of 10.
Okay.
it goes without saying his knowledge has to be there.
Yes.
But then after that, he comes and sits with me, and honesty in his replies. The guy who's taking your interview, he's very smart. He's been there, done that. He's your Dadaji. Okay, don't try to be smart with him. So, if I ask you a question, if you have vague answer, you might give me the vague answer, but don't give me a bullshit answer. You just tell me, sorry sir, I don't know the answer to this. After this interview, I will go out, find out the reply, answer, and come back and tell you. That's a very good reply.
Yeah.
I'll be very impressed. Okay. So basically that, and your attitude, I would say, people, if you're coming as a fresher for the interview, I don't expect you to be a second mate or a master.
Exactly.
I just want to see if you will fit well on my ship and you will be able to, complete some 10 years in the merchant navy or not.
Not exactly.
So basically that's I'm looking for, basically.
अच्छा सर, आप जैसे शिप पे हैं, अभी मैं बहुत सारे लोगों को देखता हूँ कि काफ़ी सारे कैप्टन, मतलब आप तो बहुत ही एक्सपीरियंस है, बट अभी भी जैसे सुनील है या ये डीप सी में है, शॉन है, या अभी समर सर से मैं गलती करके आया, ये लोग फिटनेस पे बहुत ज़्यादा फोकस कर रहे हैं. What is your point of view on physical and mental fitness?
Absolutely. When I see, Captain Samath, I just, got in touch with him recently. Captain Sams, as he's called. And I get so impressed. Same as, apna Sean, chief engineer. Sometimes people ask me, is it a show off or what? And I say, no, this is motivation.
Exactly.
When I have been an athlete, during my school, college time, I have been a swimmer or whatever. So, it runs in my blood, I have to be physically fit all the times. And I continued that even when I was a cadet. And I can assure you, when we were cadets, there were no rules and regulations. There were no sleep hours and rest hours. We were working for, I have worked for 72 hours, slept in the cargo control room for 2 hours and 3 hours, and started again because I'm in charge of the ballasting, deballasting. No complaints. Happy. We were 6 cadets, okay. It was a, kind of a, we had a group of gang of cadets and all, and we were doing everything. But in that, I used to find time to, maybe 20 minutes or half an hour to do some kind of, exercise. I was heavily into yoga. I started yoga even when I was in school. I continued that, and, some of my batchmates, the cadets on the ship, they gave me the name Steel.
Oh.
So I was called, that's why I sometimes write Captain Steel.
Oh.
So I was given that name because I was mentally and physically very strong on board. And this was kind of my religion. I have to do my yoga, my exercise or whatever, when I became a third mate, second mate. So when I became a captain, a chief mate on an oboe, life became more hectic. Most of the time would be, spent in the cargo control room and, those kind of things. But maybe for a few months or a couple of contracts, I didn't do that much of exercise. But otherwise, I say, when I see these people, I get so impressed. They are motivating other youngsters that, you don't have to just sit and go to the cabin and start clicking pictures and make videos and do that. That time you use for your physical fitness, because that is also keeping you mentally fit. Why? When you are doing physical fitness, you are, sweating, endorphins are formed in the body, the good hormones are there, feel good. You feel good, and if you are not feeling good on a ship, you are, physically you are very good, but mentally you are not fit, ship is not a place for you. You will within no time get into depression and you want to leave sea.
I hope, sir, and it's not a hope, but I think आपके साथ में भी कोई ऐसा एक फेज रहा होगा डिप्रेशन वाला, like
Absolutely. एक बार मैंने इंटरव्यू करी थी कैप्टन सिंस, सुनील एंड कपल ऑफ अदर पीपल. उसमें मैंने ये मेंशन किया था काफ़ी इन डिटेल्स कि देयर वाज वन शिप आई हैड जॉइंड फॉर अ शॉर्ट पीरियड एंड आई वाज सपोज्ड टू whatever family commitments just for about 2.5 months, and I was the only Indian on board, all Filipinos. And first month or so went well, and then the ship slowly, I came to know, would be getting delayed because of the kind of ports she was doing. and I had to get back home, because there was something very urgent. And I started getting into panic attacks. Despite my daily, yoga and other things, because the whole thing, playing in my mind was that I must sign up and I'm the captain. So you understand the kind of mindset you are the master. You can't throw tantrums. You can't, I want to go back home and this and that, whatever. So you have a ship to look after, the ship business to look after, and then you had these, your mental issue. Only person you can talk to is the company. So I called up Bombay office and they said, oh, sorry, Captain, we don't have anyone. They were only manning the ship. They were not, the ship was not in management. So then I went to the owners and managers. They were Japanese, K-line ship. And somebody was, very kind of emphatic about, my situation. So he arranged a master. And finally, I got off that ship. But after that, I had to go and seek professional help.
Oh.
And I am very proud to say that in those days, this was 2001, 2002, that at that time, my sister is a doctor. So she took me to one of the psychiatrists and I was okay within no time. I took medicines. So it came to that stage. I took medicines for about 6 months or so, slowly, weaned out. And with the grace of God, everything is okay. But what I'm saying is, it can happen with anyone. Like in my case, okay, like they say higher you go, the quieter it becomes. You are master, you're sitting right on the top of the food chain and you can't even tell your second mate or chief mate, oh, I am, in depression, You want to maintain the morale of the vessel at the same time when, in your head something very severe is going on. So you learn to, kind of find I would do consciously, I would do, more of meditation and other things, realizing my situation, but it wouldn't help. So sometimes, those situations, you are aware and still, it is going out of control. I'm talking to my wife on the phone and I would tell her, stay on the phone, just keep talking to me. And she would be on the other side talking to me. And
like, this is why I want to, I want you to tell all these stories because अभी बच्चे क्या करते हैं कि they are just joining the ship. One student was saying कि मुझे पानी से प्यार है.
प्यार है, हाँ, ठीक है, हाँ के और मतलब the typical dialogue is this is my passion, sir.
Passion, adventure, dream.
Merchant Navy is my passion. So it's not like that. And also the other thing to the children, I want to say that today's generation is not. They are very smart. They are, intellectually, I would say, okay, they are good and they are focused, but they are not mentally strong.
They are lacking patience.
They are lacking patience, and the moment they go to, and I would also partly blame it to the overdose of social media.
Exactly.
And also too much of dependence on you are connected with your family, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your other people. So my also advice to these youngsters is, please stay away from negative people on board. Every ship, you will find a couple of officers or engineers who are constantly, they're sitting in your cabin, constantly complaining about work and all the seniors around them. अरे मर गए ये बकवास है आज ये प्रॉब्लम हो गई अरे ये मैं तो ये तो फेड अप हो गया आई वांट टू लीव द शिप they are going to make your life miserable. Stay away from them. Stay with positive people.
Yeah.
Okay. And similarly, when you listen to your parents telling you something, you already have some pressure from your home or your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and these things are adding to it. So you have to wisely choose how much you want to be dependent on social media and for what kind of duration.
Exactly.
And when you can stay away, otherwise you're going to have problem. And then whatever we hear nowadays, after being 1.5 months on the ship, and they just want to leave sea or they want to leave the ship and go back home. And there's no patience, like you said. They don't even want to wait. I remember I was fresh out of a small town in Punjab. First 18.5 months I was on the ship, but I had the best time of my life. Yes, there are times of, pangs of, those homesickness, and, you miss very important events. My sister got married. I could never go because I had just joined sea. I didn't make hangama, oh, I have to go back home, and, because I knew for me this was more important, and I may not get my second ship ever again. So, priorities and the mental toughness and patience and, focus, I would say.
You given us a good example कि वो एक company जो है ना, Jim Rohn said that you are the average of 6 persons around you.
Yeah.
So वो 6 persons आप कैसे select कर रहे हो, वो उस पर डिपेंड करता है कि आपकी लाइफ या आपका माइंडसेट या आपका मेंटल और फिजिकल बिहेवियर कैसा आगे जाने वाला है. So that is why जब मैंने ये सुना था, मैंने अपना पूरा नेटवर्किंग ही कट कर दिया at that time. And then I have selected कि okay, this person, they are in my network, and that.
Oh my God, you are stealing my lines.
Oh.
I heard Jim Rohn from you after a long time. That time, I didn't know who Jim Rohn was. And when I became a master, I did exactly that without reading Jim Rohn or anyone else or any other, Gyan books. So I used to go out of these 35, that time, there were 35, 30, 25 people. Out of these, I want to make my team. That team used to be only here. Okay? So chief mate and chief engineer have to be there in that team. And after that, I used to choose, okay, this engine viper is very sharp and very smart and very conscious of, his situational awareness and safety and this and that. I want him in my team. On deck, bosun is okay, but this AB is very good. This cadet is smart. So I make my team of 6 or 7 people. I will entire 6 months, I will rely on them. And then people keep coming and going, and you keep amending your.
Yeah.
So I used to do exactly that.
The same thing.
Yeah, and it does work.
Even I'm teaching the students also.
हाँ.
कि अभी जैसे बहुत बार क्या होता है, they are preparing.
हाँ.
ऑनलाइन टीचिंग पे मैं इसीलिए बिलीव नहीं करता. दे आर प्रिपेयरिंग एट होम. हम यहाँ पे से कुछ सिखा रहे हैं, एंड यू आर स्पेंडिंग टाइम विद दो स्टूडेंट्स और फैमिली मेंबर्स हु आर वेरी नेगेटिव अबाउट दिस फील्ड. सो आप इस फील्ड में नहीं जा सकते या पढ़ाई नहीं कर सकते. दैट इज व्हाट वी आर गिविंग देम द मैसेज. अगर पढ़ना है तो आप ऑफलाइन आओ, यहाँ पे बैठो, टीचर्स के साथ में बैठो, और अगर कोई ऐसा स्टूडेंट है जो आपकी एनर्जी खा रहा है, उसके साथ में बैठने की जरूरत ही नहीं है. सो दिस इज व्हाट वी आर टीचिंग टू द स्टूडेंट.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So this is this is my fadda.
No. This is a very, right way of guiding them.
अच्छा सर, एक चीज और है, जैसे अभी आप वहाँ पे शिप पे बहुत मतलब ये मैं सर समर्थ सर के साथ में बात कर रहा था, तो मैंने उनको भी बोला था कि मैं काफी सारे सेलर्स से मिलता हूँ, तो दे आर कंप्लेनिंग अबाउट देयर फैमिलीज.
Okay.
बट व्हाट अबाउट योर लाइक रिलेशनशिप, आपने कैसे मैनेज किया शिप पे रह करके, और ये सारी चीजें जो है ये आपने कैसे मैनेज की? व्हाट इज योर एडवाइस? लाइक अभी आपके पास बहुत एक्सपीरियंस है, तो व्हाट इज योर एडवाइस?
First, I'll come back to your question. Complaining about families, like in what way? I want to know that. Some people like you said.
कि कोई बंदा वहाँ पे है शिप पे, तो वो बोल रहा है कि मेरी वाइफ ऐसा कर रही है, या मेरी फैमिली में ऐसा हो रहा है. जब भी बंदा आ रहा है वापस, तो बोल रहा है कि मेरी फैमिली में जब भी मैं आता हूँ कुछ ना कुछ प्रॉब्लम ही रहती है.
Yeah.
कभी कभी हस्बैंड वाइफ के प्रॉब्लम भी बहुत ज्यादा स्पाइक हो जाते हैं.
I get these messages also myself. ठीक है. Okay, in my case, like a lot of times I read, a long distance relationship, LDR, and ये वो. आज की अगर मैं जनरेशन आपको एग्जांपल दूं, people who are not even out at sea, long distance relationship is very, very difficult to maintain. People are having so many problems. Like COVID also, kind of, brought out a lot of issues, long distance relationship, and too much of, togetherness also, a lot of husbands and wives who were staying together, they parted ways.
Yes.
I mean, not too many. I mean, we heard examples. So maybe, random example. At the same time, some people who stayed together, they became very close to each other. At the same time, some people who couldn't meet each other, they were, away from each other, who would meet every day or something. And because of COVID, they were away for 3 months, 4 months. They became more stronger, or some fell apart. So there are all kind of examples. In my time, I think it was long distance relationship was one of the best ever. I'll give you now very interesting examples. I used to send audio letters to my wife. उस टाइम किसी ने सुने भी नहीं थे, ये चीज़ भी है. तो वो वो एक को मिलता था वो कैसेट रिकॉर्डर,
हाँ।
ठीक है। तो मैं आई एम सेकंड मेट और अ चीफ मेट, आई एम वॉकिंग डाउन ऑन डेक, आई हैव दैट रिकॉर्डर हेयर, उसका मैं रिकॉर्डर ऑन करके एंड आई एम टॉकिंग टू हर, ओके अरे बहुत बढ़िया सी है, एंड आज ये हुआ, आज यार मेरी बुड्ढे से लड़ाई हो गई, यू नो, बुड्ढा इज़ लाइक ओल्ड मैन, कैप्टन इज़ नोन एज अ बुड्ढा और अ ओल्ड मैन। सो ये लड़ाई होगी, या आज ये इंटर से आज पार्टी हुई, वेदर बहुत बढ़िया, आज तूफान है, आज थोड़ी ये। सो आई कीप डूइंग दैट, और जब 1 घंटा हो गया देन आई पुट इन सेकंड कैसेट। जैसे पोर्ट पे आऊँगा तो एजेंट वुड कम, इन दोज डेज यू नो इट वाज ओनली स्नेल मेल, कि वो जो पोस्ट मेल में जाती थी, आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट 90s, हाँ।
Yeah.
सो फिर वो पोस्ट करता था, माई वाइफ वुड गेट इट एंड शी विल हैव 2 hours ऑफ कन्वर्सेशन। इट वाज अमेजिंग, इट वाज अमेजिंग। एंड देन यू नो माई प्रायोरिटी was very clear right from day one I got married that मेरी वाइफ मेरी फैमिली मेरे साथ सेल करेगी करेगी।
Okay.
मैं ये नहीं कहता कि यू नो दैट्स यू नो दिस इज हाउ इट शुड बी, सबके अपने अपनी प्रायोरिटीज हैं। लॉट ऑफ यू नो शिपीज दे टेल मी तुम हमारा यू नो गड़बड़ कर रहे हो, ये ऐसी बातें बोलो, बट आई से यू नो योर प्रायोरिटीज आर डिफरेंट इन आवर टाइम्स, यू नो frankly my wife was not working and she had, you know, when we got married she told me 2 things: always keep me with you and never ask me to work.
Mm-hmm.
So it suited me.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I wanted. You know, I didn't want a working wife. I would have gone for a you know person who was working. So like you know, it's a choice. So nowadays the girls are working equally and men are working equally. So they have their life. You cannot you know be unfair to them.
Yes.
So nowadays you know it's like कि चलो उसको 1 महीने छुट्टी मिली, जहाज पे चले जाओ। तो मेरे टाइम में ये था, तो हर जहाज में luckily on those days you know second mate was allowed to carry family on board. So my wife most of the time 8 महीने 9 महीने 4 महीने she was with me. And whenever she is not with me then I have audio letters and you know चिट्ठियाँ लिखते थे. I still have those, a bundle of चिट्ठियाँ with me. I started writing poems. That is another thing, you know, you develop staying on the ship.
Yeah.
New talents. Like, you know, Captain Norbert, he's sketching. He's very good at sketching. वो कुछ ना कुछ sketch करते रहते हैं. Ship sketch कर दिया, कोई you know sunset, sunrise कर दिया. And he cooks also. So I'm not very good at cooking and that does nothing to me. A lot of people find, you know, therapeutical thing. So मेरा था कि poetry.
Yeah.
And I would you know instantly write poetry. So my family life was amazing. My wife was, you know, when she was not with me, she was never, I don't remember she ever complaining ki are ye. Yes, her mother used to say ki when she is alone she is not too happy, she just wants to be with you, you know, but she never kind of you know put that burden on me. But I was always, because probably she knew that I would fight with the company or whoever and get her on board. So we had wonderful relationship. And there's another incident I'll tell you, you know, even before that, 88, 89, after I got married in 1987, that time, you know, it was India's telecommunication revolution was still not there. ठीक है? Was still, you are on the ship, कोई port, you are coasting somewhere, so you do first a coast to coast you know call and then land to land call. So पहले you know coast station को contact करो through VHF and then they connect you to the your phone, whatever phone. So she used to be you know wherever she is, in her parents' house or my parent. And when she was at her parents' house and I wrote her a letter calculating the times कि लेटर उसको आज के 20 दिन बाद मिलेगा या जब मिलेगा, एंड उसके और दिन लेके वी आर सो एंड सो अप्रॉक्सीमेट डेट वी आर रीचिंग यू नो केप टाउन और समथिंग, आई गिव यू अ कॉल. हर हाउस wherever she was living there was no STD.
Oh.
So she had to go to the nearest big town to her friend's house where she would spend the whole day, come back in the evening to her house because there's no call from me, go back again next day, and if she's lucky she'll get a call from me and then I'll tell her you know whatever instructions okay when she's joining or you know. So that is how we used to talk. She would travel to that next town just to talk to me for half an hour or maybe 10 minutes, 5 minutes.
Like that kind of struggle just for talking.
But that's long distance relationship, beautiful. I would say, you know,
Moment create हो गया.
moment create हो गया.
वो थोड़ा सा छोटा सा कॉल भी एक मोमेंट क्रिएट कर
There was a journalist friend of mine. He's unfortunately he's no more. उसको मैंने एक बार ये स्टोरी सुनाई थी ये ऑडियो लेटर्स की, कहता मैंने तेरी इंटरव्यू लेके अखबार में छापनी है, विच नेवर हैपेंड.
Okay.
सो ही फाउंड इट वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग कि अच्छा कि ऑडियो लेटर्स तो करता था, आजकल क्या हो रहा है ये वो. मैं कहता था उस टाइम स्नेल मेल होती थी, कि हमारे टाइम में मेल आ रही है, कैप जैसे पोर्ट पे जहाज आया, कैप्टन के कैबिन पे बाहर पूरा शिप खड़ा है, क्योंकि एजेंट एक बंडल दे के जाएगा. सबसे पहले शिप बिजनेस नहीं होता था, सबकी लेटर्स दी जाती थी जो घर से आई हैं. सो इट वाज वेरी डिफरेंट काइंड ऑफ लाइफस्टाइल.
Any like ऐसे कुछ पैरानॉर्मल एक्टिविटी टाइप और ऐसा कुछ?
अरे वो भी स्टोरीज हैं. एक बार मेरे जहाज पे मैं सेकंड मेट था. So we were coming, we were, coasting Kamchatka area, that is Russian East Coast. तो वहाँ पे मैं रात को वॉच पे था. ये न्यूज़ मेरी एक्चुअली, ये आर्टिकल मैंने बाद में लिखा था, सेलर टुडे वालों ने पब्लिश किया. सो वी वर कमिंग, आई सॉ समथिंग, some craft landing on the sea. And I was like, I'm wide awake, I'm having a cup of coffee, and in those days we never used to have a watchkeeper with us, Sukhani or somebody. So duty officers all alone, and I was like, this is something very unusual. And then the moment it landed, and there was spirally, the colored lights, beautiful colored lights going in all directions, and in the center there's a huge pole, and there's a very blinding, searchlight going on. And it was like, for me, it was like a, UFO or something, it could be bioluminescence or whatever. So I immediately gave a call to the captain. He had his handycam. I said, you please come up on the bridge. There's something I want to show you. Same time I called up my wife. She was also sailing. I was second mate. So both of them, they came almost the same time. They ran on the bridge, and they saw this, thing. So I told captain, I said, please start, taking the video, shoot. So he was reluctant for whatever reason. So I sensed it. So I took his camera, started shooting, and whatever that thing, then, chief mate came at 4 o'clock in the morning at watch, and finally we just saw a small speck on the sea. So, there were various theories, fishing vessel, bioluminescence phenomenon, this and that. And I wanted to send the, samples of that area, which normally should be done, and send it to the hydrographic department in London. So captain was not interested. Probably he thought, too much of paperwork and this and that. In those days, it is 1992. Okay, so, and we never took a sample of the water. No, atmospheric, okay, data is always there in the logbook or whatever. So that was one of the, very weird experience. But another, very surprising thing was when later on when we saw it on the video, those lights were missing. Those colored lights never came.
Okay.
So probably now, now if I think back, it could be bioluminescence, because that thing was never caught by the camera. It was, bioluminescence or, the whatever thing.
Yeah.
So I'm not a, technical science guy, So, but then I sent, this was in 92. In 2001, when I was sailing alone as a master with the Filipinos, I sent this article to the Sailor Today magazine, and they were, kind enough to publish it. So it is published in June 91, Sailor Today, June 2001.
That was some kind of amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing. And there were, 4 families sailing with us. Next day in the morning, I almost got killed. The other wife said, why did you call us? This was amazing experience. So these kind of things do happen. And
Sir, generally, like it is my philosophy कि मैं लाइफ के 4 एस्पेक्ट्स पे बहुत फोकस करता हूँ. जब भी बच्चे वाई मर्चेंट नेवी पूछते हैं मुझसे कि सर मुझे मेरा वाई मर्चेंट नेवी बताओ या आप ज्वाइन करते थे, तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि जनरली 4 एस्पेक्ट्स होते हैं. हेल्थ, जिसपे हमने डिस्कशन किया. दूसरा मनी, करियर, and third thing is relationship, and fourth thing is the contribution, or you can say spirituality. So like I'm connecting the contribution to spirituality. So like right now in this age, are you feeling that you should contribute back to the society or something, give back to the society?
Yeah, thank you for asking this question, because I'm already doing it.
Yeah.
ठीक है. So the thing is, like मैं कई बार एग्जांपल देता हूँ कि पुराने ज़माने में हकीम होते थे, जड़ी बूटियों की नॉलेज ये वो. They didn't pass it on to their, next generation. Maybe they pass it on to one generation and it never came down. So today we don't even know what kind of amazing wealth we have in terms of jadi booty and herbs and all these things in the jungles and all. So that thing died its own death. And, although, various governments, they keep trying, through Ayurveda and this and that. Yeah. So similarly, I, after quitting sea, my passion was always, even when I was sailing as a chief mate, my passion was teaching and training.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I was chief mate, cadets को Saturday, Sunday छुट्टी देता था. और Saturday को I used to set up a question paper. Sunday morning bridge पे आ जाओ 10 बजे 12 बजे जब भी और तुम्हारा एग्जाम. So I used to take their exam and then marks लगाने ये कराना पढ़ाई करानी. And basically like I said, for me discipline was the topmost thing. मेरा दिमाग खराब हो जाता है अगर मैं इनडिसिप्लिन या बदतमीज बच्चे को देख लूँ. मेरे को होता है कि तुम्हारा कोई मतलब you shouldn't be out at sea. Sea is not for indisciplined, irresponsible people. Period. You are danger to yourself, you are danger to the other people. ठीक है. So मेरे को वो होता था ये डिसिप्लिन सिखाना, ये सिखाना, पढ़ाई थोड़ी बहुत करा देनी. So I was always into that. And then I tried my hands, in 2000, year 2000, I wanted to quit sea. I was 40 that time. So I thought, maybe, try something. So 2003 to 2006, I was a principal in a marine academy in Jaipur for 2 years. And that academy closed down. I joined back sea for another few years, 2004 mein. So I always wanted to teach and train. And then, when I quit in 2014, I tried to start, academy here in Chandigarh.
Okay.
But I tried with a couple of, partners. Unfortunately, I found it was more of greed than, my idea of academy or institute was to pick up the children, guide them, and help them get a job also somewhere, and not to, just pick them up and take money from them, and after that wash your hand, ki sorry, now you're on your own. So some kind of push and guidance and something has to be there. So I used to use my resources and, put them on the ships. This was in 15 or something when I settled down in Chandigarh. But then I realized my partners were not my kind. We didn't, agree. I didn't agree with their kind of ethics.
Okay.
So they were more into money and doesn't matter what happens to this side. So I stopped that. And then recently, COVID time, वेले बैठे थे. So I was already on Instagram. So I thought I'll, become more active. And that is how, somebody, a Maritime Universe, a guy who calls me one day, sir, आपकी interview लेनी है. And he arranged one interview. And that is how I became more interested. Then I decided, to 34 years of experience, there's no point I taking with me. I must, give it to the children in whatever way. I don't want any money. God has been very kind. So I am doing that. And I also joined the NGO here, which, I'm working for. This NGO is for women and children. And when I was second mate, when I was cadet, I once told myself, when I become a third mate, I earn my first salary, I will use it, some part of it on charity. I always had that thing in my mind. Okay? So when I was third mate, I adopted 2 children for 3 years each. One from Senegal, a boy, and a girl from Colombia. They were small kids. So for 3 years through foster parent plan in USA. And I used to get their letters. I still have their letters with me and other stuff with me.
Great.
And recently, while I was on Instagram, I contacted that foster parent plan. I asked them if they can give me information about these 2 children. And the girl they couldn't find, the boy they found who's running his own business in Senegal. And they sent me his latest pictures. So, it's very heartwarming. And when you do. So these kind of things, and I always used to, as a captain or as a chief mate, I used to tell the cadets कि बच्चों जब भी पैसे कमाओगे इतना सा charity में जरूर लगाना. Like in Sikhism, they do, a certain, a percentage of their money is dedicated to charity, which is a very, very noble act. So I am giving back to the society. God is looking after my financial part. and I'm looking after these things. Merchant Navy as well as through the NGO I'm doing for women and children.
So sir, actually when I'm talking to you, so मुझे लग रहा है कि like I'm also on the right path because ये जो चार aspect है
Right.
मैंने सोचे हैं.
हाँ.
Even मैं अपने students को भी यही बताता हूँ जब भी. So I want your advice in this.
हाँ.
Like I'm also running the institute.
Right.
But I'm not from the merchant navy background.
ठीक है.
But I'm from the teaching background for a very long time.
Right.
So मैं बच्चों को जनरली ये सिखाता हूँ कि मैथ्स, फिजिक्स, केमिस्ट्री, एप्टीट्यूड, इंग्लिश, ये सब तो सभी लोग कराते हैं.
है.
आई एम वर्किंग ऑन EQ, इमोशनल क्वोशिएंट, क्योंकि शिप पे जाकर के ये बहुत ज्यादा इंपॉर्टेंट है कि आप
वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट
स्टेटस क्या है. सो आई हैव स्टार्टेड अ प्रोग्राम कॉल्ड मर्चेंट नेवी सुपर ह्यूमन.
ओके.
सो जिसमें मैं बच्चों को ये बताता हूँ पहले कि क्या वैल्यूज होने चाहिए, क्या प्रिंसिपल्स होने चाहिए आपकी लाइफ के जो मर्चेंट नेवी से रिलेट करेंगे. देन व्हाट इज द मीनिंग ऑफ डार्कनेस, एंड अभी जो आपकी बॉडी है और आपका जो माइंड है इसमें क्या क्या प्रॉब्लम्स हैं. देन फिर मैं बोलता हूँ कि नाउ वी विल क्रिएट अ वर्जन 2.0 जिसमें आप एक बहुत अच्छी सुपर कार्ड बनाने वाले हो. और वो कैसे बनेगी उसकी पूरे लाइक एवरीथिंग, पर्पस, वैल्यूज, प्रिंसिपल्स एंड एवरीथिंग आई एम इंट्रोड्यूसिंग. एंड ऑल्सो आई एम टेलिंग, इवन आई एम डूइंग ऑल दीज प्रैक्टिसेस कि सुबह मेडिटेशन होगा, बुक रीडिंग होगी, ओथ एंड विजुअलाइजेशन होगा. सो दीज ऑल थिंग्स वी आर डूइंग. आई वांट योर एडवाइस कि हम और क्या इम्प्रूव करें बच्चों के लिए कि मर्चेंट नेवी में जब हम किसी चीज को लेकर के जाए तो दैट शुड बी नियर टू परफेक्शन.
I would put more stress on mental health only, because if you are not mentally happy on board, if you are not happy on board, general,
Yeah.
you cannot have a happy atmosphere on board. If the ship is not happy, ship cannot perform.
Exactly.
Okay, so why you are on the ship? Basically, to you are catering to somebody, some owners, some managers, someone. A lot of time I also used to say on relationships, interrelationship, kind of thing on board. During my time when I was a junior, I used to see a lot of fights between engineers and deck officers. At a top level, chief engineer and master don't get along, and they're like fights in the alleyways. I, as a cadet, would be embarrassed that these two seniors are, making fun of themselves. And you learn from them. Sometimes some people adopt that thing कि मैं भी ऐसे ही होने वाला हूँ. Some people, it's like if I got a very bad food during my, early years out at sea in 80s and 90s, food was terrible. I told myself, when I become a master, I am going to give the best food. Because basic aim of my, being on board was to run a happy ship.
Exactly.
And when I got command, I got in a Glasgow-based company. So this fleet manager came. He took my interview, and I was chief mate that time. So he promoted me the next day, and he told me, Captain, remember, a well-fed ship is a happy ship.
Exactly.
I kept that in my mind, and I made sure that खाने की किसी को कभी complaint नहीं होगी. That is number one. Number two, mental health. I would, like I told you, I'll pick up my 6 people, my team. This is my team who I'm going to work with.
Yeah.
After that, I am kind of, I don't want to boast, but I'm a good judge of characters. When I see people, I have my own way of, analyzing people. So मैं देखता था कि general pattern of work or attitude or nature or a personality of a person. If I see this AB is a very chirpy, happy guy and always, doing good work, and now for last 7 days, this guy is very quiet, I'll just knock his cabin door, go to him, sit with him. Those were the days when there were no, instant telephones or whatever,
Yes, yes.
उस जमाने I would sit with him, घर में सब ठीक है, चिट्ठी आई, कोई गड़बड़ चल रही है. I would try to talk with the person and, give him some pep talk and, boost his morale. Next day, the guy would be jumping in front of the other guys कि captain मेरे cabin में आया था or whatever. Basic idea was to, make sure, because normally they say initially it is sadness. I mean, I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Sadness that converts into, deep sadness, and then you get into panic attacks. And the last stage is, a depression. And then depression becomes a clinical thing where you need medicines.
Exactly.
So I didn't want anyone on my ship to get into that kind of a thing. In those days, people were mentally healthy because not too much of nonsense was fed through the social media into our heads. So now people need to, be mentally strong. So on that aspect, I think, whatever you can do, there's nothing more, I think, required. I mean, it's for me, I have stopped sailing, and from 2014 till today, shipping has gone from where to where, and in between we had 2 years of COVID also.
Exactly.
So I cannot really fathom the situation because I have not sailed as a master, but I'm talking about my times, how I made sure that people were mentally fit and physically, of course. We had games, we had rope pulling and, all that tug of war and
Yeah.
table tennis and swimming, whenever. So I used to have a regular, in those days, a lot of people used to be like, अरे इसके जहाज पे तो बड़ी पार्टियां होती हैं. Now companies realize the importance of, this also recreation. In those days, मतलब people used to, sometimes my chief mate used to say, sir, वो chief cook तो आज Saturday आपने उसको बोला क्या पार्टी? I said, no, वो तो पार्टी तैयार कर रहा है. It was understood Saturday, good weather, पार्टी होगी रात को. Within limits, मतलब मेरे जहाज में कभी कोई दारू पी के आउट नहीं होता था, कोई बकवास नहीं चलती थी, कोई आउट ऑफ कंट्रोल नहीं होता था. Good fun, clean parties, nice games, basically, to have a
Balance.
that used to be, the mental strength and happiness. Now, if you're not mentally happy, you cannot run a ship happily, and people who are giving you the salary, they are suffering.
Yes, of course.
So I always used to make a point when I became a captain, कि chief engineer is going to be my best friend, doesn't matter what. जितना मर्जी वो बंदा अपना हो उसका कुछ अपना आइडियाज, वो मेरा बेस्ट फ्रेंड बनेगा ही जहाज. बिकॉज इफ वी टू गाइज ऑन टॉप आर सिटिंग एंड क्लोज टू ईच अदर, नॉर्मल मैसेज गोज डाउन कि सब ठीक है जहाज पे, एवरीथिंग इज नॉर्मल. So there's no bakwas politics which normally sometimes creeps in. It starts from top level, bottom level, wherever.
Yeah.
So these I tell children this also. Whenever you hear about any gossip, leave.
Exactly.
Leave. Do not give your 2 bits. Do not give your 2 bits. Just leave.
Even I am telling my students also. Even sometimes as a teacher बहुत बार controversy होती है. मैं अपने students को हमेशा बोलता हूँ, no comments from your side.
Absolute.
कुछ भी होगा I will handle.
Clear.
You are
Clear जब करनी होगी किसी ने from the horse's mouth or whatever, या 1-to-1 कर लो. अगर तुम्हें बोल रहा कि तेरा वो so and so तुम्हारे बारे में ये बोल रहा, clear it out with that person.
Exactly.
Rather than reacting. I always say respond, never react.
Exactly. There is a huge difference.
Yeah, huge difference.
Yeah. So, सर काफ़ी सही एक्सपीरियंस है और मुझे लग रहा है कि मैं आपके साथ बैठूंगा ना तो मुझे 2-3 दिन लगेंगे.
I know because there are so many incidents and this and that, and I in fact I wrote. I mean, I'm going on and on.
No.
I wrote a article in one of the companies. They have their 3 monthly, 6 monthly bulletins. So in that one, my article was. I'll send you a copy of that. Okay, what is the role of shipmaster or an officer on board while in port? Okay. So I always like, I am always giving my friendship 100% first. You're the chief engineer or whoever. I am going to go to your cabin and, sit with you, have a nice, friendly conversation to, make you at ease and not let you think, yaar naya buddha aaya, pata nahi kya hoga, whatever. So I give myself, same way whenever port authority or outsiders come to my ship, first impression is the last, I said.
Exactly.
So जब gangway से वो चढ़ रहा है ना, तो my gangway has to be perfect. The way book says. Gangway net is there, it is neat and clean, no grease marks, no wires, hanging here and there. And right on top, there's a smart AB standing there in a clean boiler suit, not a working boiler suit. Working boiler suit is dirty. Clean boiler suit because you are a AB on gangway watch only. Clean boiler suit, helmet, your name and your rank, register in your hand, walkie-talkie. Hello sir, who are you? Who do you want to meet? Wait, let me register you. and I will call the duty officer. He'll take you to the captain's cabin or chief engineer's cabin. This inspector has already made up his mind. 5-10 में से दे दिए उसने.
Exactly.
फर्स्ट इंप्रेशन में, ठीक है. फिर वो मेरे कैबिन में आएगा. आई मेक हिम कंफर्टेबल, टी और कॉफी फर्स्ट, नॉर्मल फर्स्ट थिंग, courtesies. And I'll talk to the person. I'll send you that. It tells me exactly, how I go about, preparing. And now it goes without saying कि तुम्हारी जो टीम है उनको पता ही है कि क्या करना है. वो इंस्पेक्टर अगर लाइफ बोट चेक करने जा रहा है, सो ही सेज, मेरे साथ हुआ, आई डिड दैट. ही सेज ओके थर्ड मेट स्टार्ट द इंजन. एंड आई सेड सर व्हाई थर्ड मेट, आस्क द चीफ कुक. दैट मेक्स सो मच ऑफ अ डिफरेंस कि ये जहाज का चीफ कुक लाइफ बोट चलाएगा. You are building up that repo. So now, even if there are a couple of things which are wrong on your ship, he's going to ignore that. Because he knows the ship is in good hands. They are not hiding anything. They are proactive. And this is solid work.
SOPs sort है, मतलब सबका job sort है.
And there is another thing I mentioned in that whenever there's this inspector on board, out of 22 people, you also have 5 useless people on board. Put them in their cabins. They should not come out.
Yeah.
So the guys who are going to move around with him, make sure they are your best people. Best 2 guys from engine room, best 2 guys from deck. And when he's on the bridge or anywhere, I am there with him. Although he will say at some stage, Captain, I don't need you, because he's already comfortable. But I'll make sure I'm sticking around with him. So, the team which is going around with him also has to be best. There is no way your ship will fail in anything.
Exactly.
So it's your, communication, personal rapport, how you deal with outsiders. If you sit around in dirty shoes and some jean and an open collar shirt. I used to be, in those days when they were, आजकल तो फोटो बनाने के लिए tie और ये एप्लेट्स लगा के घूमने. I used to move around in those days in tie and epaulets because that is what the company has given me.
Exactly.
So uniform, I used to say, respect your uniform. It has to be immaculate, be good. Or if you're in working, whatever gear you're using, safety and your helmet and your shoes and everything, so that the person comes and he sees that this ship is running perfectly the way this inspector wants, not the way I want.
Yeah.
The way it should be as per the books.
Like proper standard operating
procedure must be followed. Safety procedures, I always used to say another thing, your safety is your responsibility, not my responsibility. I'll give you everything from top to bottom, but you are responsible.
80% depending on you.
Bilkul. So, anyway,
yeah,
there are so many kind of, these small finer points.
So, sir, thanks for thanks for accepting my request.
It's always fun, yeah. You made me feel like a bloody celebrity.
You are a celebrity. You are a celebrity. Even like I'm inviting you, whenever you are coming to Delhi, please visit our center.
Definitely. That is one thing I have never done. I move around so many places, Goa, and also someone told me, go to so-and-so school or college. I've never been. But I definitely would love to go.
I want to show you my classroom because your ideas are, your frequency is matching with you. Following the same, all those things in a similar method.
Right.
Instead of focusing more on IQ, we are focusing on EQ. IQ to sorted. So I want you to meet my students.
Definitely, I would love that. That is.
जैसे अगर आप कभी दिल्ली आएंगे तो please tell me.
मैं आऊँगा. Delhi में मतलब wherever you are, I'll take you. Contact.
So I will arrange everything.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for coming.
Thanks, sir. Thanks for accepting this request.
Thank you.